Hello, hello, Ultimate Wellness Tribe. Today I'm joined by Victor Sagalovsky, co-founder and CEO of Litewater Scientific, the world's first provider of super deuterium-depleted water. Breakthrough in water purity, gaining recognition for its role in supporting optimal health and vitality and longevity. So today we will have conversation on the biology of deuterium and hydrogen as well, and how optimizing these elements may unlock greater vitality and longevity. First of all, I'm happy to have Litewater as a returning sponsor at our annual Ultimate Wellness Conference, which will take place in the iconic Faena Forum in Miami Beach on September 26th through 28th, 2025. Thank you for supporting us again, Victor.
Thank you. This is the event of the year, and probably the best event space of any biohacking or wellness conference anybody has ever been, at least that I've ever been to. Space is everything, right? Location is everything. So if you want to have a conference that, for years, I've been going to these conferences about health and biohacking and advanced techniques, and it's always fluorescent lights and these terrible convention centers. So you picked the perfect venue, and it really makes a big difference. So
yeah, for me also it makes a big difference because I'm experienced in hosting all kinds of events and biohacking conferences, and I always wanted to bring this vibrant community to some light and vibrant space as well. So we are lucky to have such a wonderful venue. We are lucky to have such wonderful vendors with us. This year we will host 3 expo rooms, actually, much more than last year, and we will have more attendees and impressive lineup of speakers, by the way. I am very proud of this year speakers lineup.
If last year was any indication of next year, then it's going to be really good.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Well, so at our conference, you will deliver your keynote speech on deuterium depletion and why it's the new standard for human performance. So I really encourage all our followers to join us in person and meet Victor to be educated and meet all other speakers and our community, visionary in BioTech and HealthTech, longevity leaders. And dear followers, you can grab your ticket at our ultimatewellness.miami/forum. And you have special discount with promo code LIGHTWATER. Victor, your background is so diverse. You have background in plant-based food, yeah? So you have background in molecular science, chemistry, and what led you to the science of deuterium and mitochondrial health and creation of Litewater Scientific? How it's actually happened?
Well, when I was young, I heard everybody saying you are what you eat. So I started watching what I eat. and that led me to understanding food as medicine. And of course, water is our primary source of so
hydration. Yeah. Hydration is the important pillar for longevity. And with this deuterium depleted water, you bring this hydration to the next level, as you say, right?
So if you study the water that the body makes, which is called metabolic water, this water is deuterium depleted. So your body wants deuterium depleted water. Your cells want deuterium depleted water. The water that you make is deuterium depleted. So it was just a logical step to think that maybe we should be drinking deuterium depleted water.
Yeah, but for those who is new to this concept, what exactly is deuterium depleted water? And what is the molecular? How do you explain what is deuterium and why do you need to deplete it, and how exactly you deplete it, or you just found some source where you can get this deuterium depleted water which is ready to drink? How it's all processed?
Okay, let's start at the top. We'll explain deuterium, but before we explain deuterium, we'll explain water because everybody understands water. Because we know it's a molecule of hydrogen and oxygen, 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, H2O. And then in the 1930s, it was discovered that that hydrogen actually has different versions, which is called isotopes. So there's protium, which is the 99% of the hydrogen, 99% plus of the hydrogen that exists. And then a little bit of deuterium and tritium. And these hydrogen atoms are different by the addition of a neutron. It just makes it, if you don't know chemistry, it just makes it heavier. Okay, that's why they call it heavy water. That's why heavy water that's heavier in deuterium is called heavy water, and light water is water that's lower in deuterium. Now, lower than what? That's a good question. So the ocean is 155 parts per million of deuterium, meaning that if you have, or if drinking water, let's just go to drinking water, but that's the highest on the planet is 155. And so most drinking water is 150, most potable water. And then in certain places around the world, you have 15 to 20% less, but not much. And a couple places that are very remote, like Antarctica, you have a little bit lower, 89 parts per million, because it's water that's locked in time. And by the way, we produce it. We do our own. We created a next level of technology for separating the heavier water from the light water. And that's why we call it light water. And it's a new standard in purity because it's a standard that is now closer to the water that your body makes. So this H2O, let's say you have a liter of water, and it's 1,000 milliliters. And that 1,000 milliliters of water, we think is all H2O. And let's say you remove all the minerals and everything, you have pure water. Well, you're still going to have about 6 drops of what is HDO, meaning that one of those hydrogen is now replaced by the heavier version of the hydrogen, which is known as deuterium. And so we remove this because the science shows that to optimize a human body, you need to have lower deuterium, about 20% lower than what we have. And so there's a few populations around the world that live in areas that they're fortunate enough to have slightly lower deuterium, so they have better metabolic health. So really, deuterium it slows down energy production. That's the problem. And in slowing down energy production, it also creates some other problems like breakage in the electron transport chain. And it's just incompatible with biology, as was quoted 50 plus years ago by scientists at the conference. So it's been known about for almost 65 years. And then, and certain people have tried to manufacturing it. It's a very difficult process because you're separating one type of water from another type of water.
On molecular level, you separate one from another.
Correct. So it's a really molecular separation.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to do. It's not something you can do at home. So when I found out about this science, because I was involved in food as medicine probably from the early 90s till now, but about 2004, I found out about deuterium-depleted water, DDW, and I wanted it, and there's none available, at least not affordably. So I started a company with my partner, Robert Slovak, and my other partners that are in the manufacturing and the engineering and science of it. And we decided to market DDW, but it started because we wanted to drink it ourselves, because we know the science, we understand the science, we believe in the science. And once you do it, the science does not let you down.
Something greater can be created from the desire just to use this product yourself. As you told me also.
Self-improvement, just when you look, it's like taking a weight off. Okay. Just taking a little bit of, if you walk around with, if you walk around with a backpack, after a while you get used to it. You go for a hike, you got this 30-pound backpack, but when you take it off, you go, oh. And that's what taking 20% that's what lowering 20% of your deuterium feels like.
So it's exactly how it physically feels. So when you drink light water, deuterium-depleted water for some time, then you feel literally lighter and with more energy. Obviously, as you explained, you just put off some additional weight which is on your cells. In this case, it's not on your body, it's inside your cells. And I always like to emphasize that at the Ultimate Wellness Conference, we gather together thriving biohackers, longevity leaders, and pioneers in longevity science. And you, Victor, as a true pioneer in longevity science, you have developed this endogenous radiation damage theory of aging, which identifies excess deuterium as a key driver for cellular aging, right? So it's very interesting what exactly is this theory about, and how does deuterium and deuterium-depleted water fit in this theory for mitochondrial health and for longevity? Because I know that you always explain it's good for mitochondrial health, and we all know that mitochondrial health is one of the main hallmarks for longevity.
Correct.
So all sounds very logical. Now I want to know what is the theory about.
Okay, with deuterium, it's very easy. It's incompatible with energy production. It's incompatible with ATP production in the electron transport chain, in the ATP synthase nanomotors, those physical machines, those physical nanomachines that create energy in our cells, they're incompatible with deuterium. It's a mechanical problem. So it's well known about by people in the science world. It's just not talked about because there's only a few companies offering a solution, which is to lower the deuterium level. So I'll explain that before I get into the theory, because I think that's important. The water is only doing one thing. It's just allowing you to release some of the deuterium. It's allowing you to exchange it out, right? If you're drinking water that has lower deuterium, the water in your deuterium through the method known as hydrogen exchange swaps out the lighter for the heavier. And if you do this over time, 2-3 months longer, will lower your deuterium levels. This is what we're talking about. Now, my theory, and I'm very happy you brought it up because it's not talked about too much. So we age because of a number of factors, and deuterium is a big one, but it's not the only one. And I went after that one because it was something that you could actually solve, and maybe you could solve this other problem in the future. But right now, we are hot, and what I mean by hot, I'm talking about radiation. I'm talking about alpha, beta particles, and sometimes gamma particles. This is radioactive particles that are produced in our body, right? I mean, they're produced in nature, but they're also produced in our body. So my theory explains how we age because we are irradiating ourselves. We're getting poisoned by radiation from within, just through the normal process of life. Eating food has some potassium-40 in it. So some of these isotopic elements are radioactive. And in the process of digesting it, of our biological function, we absorb or we even create some of these radioactive particles. Now, when a radioactive particle goes through anything, it just shoots right out. If it creates a single strand break in the DNA, you're okay, it can be repaired. But if it creates a double strand break, then that information is gone. Okay. And this is why as you age, you have less of everything. It's just less information to copy the original blueprint that we're designed on. So you're losing energy and information. And at some point, the loss of energy and information becomes so great that it snowballs. It becomes exponential. That's why when you look at somebody that's 90, you say, what are your chances of making it to 100? Well, the statistical chances of somebody that's 90 making it to 100 are 1 in 700. But the chances of somebody that's 100 making it to 105,
interesting.
It's 1 in 7,000. So as we age faster as we get older. And this is
why we always want to slow this pace of aging. You know, I do true age test from time to time, and I'm always so happy when I see that the pace of aging is slower than it was before, because it means that you over time you will regain this as you will reverse your biological age. And
I don't know if anybody's reversed it, but slowing it down is good enough, or at least,
Yeah.
or just maintain who you are, right? Just
Mm.
maintain the energy level, the mental acuity, the childlike wonder, and your basic fascination with life to stay youthful and stay young. And as we age, we lose the neuroplasticity in our brains, and that's the most precious thing, because that's the creative spark in us. That's the wonder. That's like what keeps a child just enamored with a piece of grass all day. It's just so.
Yeah, and that's why you call this deuterium-depleted water a new standard for human performance and mental well-being as well. That's why, because lighter, literally not only lighter in your body, but lighter in your mind. And as you say, this ability to be like a child and still be surprised, still be curious about many things and want to learn and want to discover, explore new things, because with aging, we not only lose our mobility and our ability to be active, but we also lose cognition and, as you said, being impressed by something, ability to be impressed, because we already know everything and it's so difficult to impress our selves, and it's good to feel lighter not only in our body but in our mind. And of course, I believe this reverse your aging on so deep level, when you feel not only more like active and with more energy, but also more enlightened.
I
Yeah,
think
with more light.
I think that childhood state and that confidence from surplus of energy.
Yes, many of your clients, I know, they subscribe for light water. It's so easy. I personally subscribed for light water in bottles. I actually prefer smaller bottles to take it with me on a go when I go on a walk along the beach or just for exercising. And I also subscribed to your second product, hydrogen. Hydrogen actually in just pills, right? So I know that you already have also have bottle, but for me personally, I just found that it's much easier, just personally for me, drop this one pill to the bottle, to the cup, and just drink it immediately. And I know this makes me like fill me with antioxidants and really gives me additional energy before exercising. Actually, I like to do this light water with hydrogen before or after exercising.
Yeah, so do I. I think it makes exercise easier. It makes it more fun,
Yes,
challenging, because you can
gives
push
you.
yourself a little further without stress, or at least less stress. So I think when we have this surplus of energy, well, children always have a surplus of energy, and we also have in that surplus we find safety. So if we have a surplus of energy and that makes us feel safe, then we feel like we can do anything. And when we get older, we have injuries, less energy, maybe overweight, you're just not feeling optimal. So that seeds itself into here. And then you lose that kind of spark for creativity. So I think if you, whatever you do to maintain your surplus of energy, stay ahead of it, and that provides safety, because this is something that happens outside of the conscious mind, right? This is all in the subconscious. But the subconscious it's running the show. So you want it to run.
Yeah. It's like a passenger behind the driver, and the driver is just drives, but the passenger, which is our subconscious or superconscious, we can call it superconscious, because there is nothing about subconscious. It's superconscious, yeah. And this superconscious says the driver where to drive and where is our destination, where is the address, and where we go. As far as I know, you have a test which identifies the level of deuterium in our body. So give me some examples. How long the person should drink water, and how often, how many times how many liters per day and per week, per month. So they have this result of deuterium depletion in the body. And maybe we can explain how they can measure, because biohackers, they like to measure
They
and
like
see
they,
some results.
they like to quantify their results.
Yes, exactly. It's good and not good because over time we develop this interoception, as I previously had my talk with one of the peak performance coaches, and he emphasized that we need to measure for some time that HRV, VO2 max, then we understand how we feel our body at some point of HRV and at some point maybe of deuterium. So it's good to measure for some time. It's not like we want to measure all the time and constantly always.
It's
But
just a validation. It's a
it's how.
validation to see if is it working? Is what I'm doing working? Is it doing the intended job?
Like with this constant glucose monitor, we wear this constant glucose monitor, this small device for some time to see how different kind of food influences us. And then we just exclude this. So we take off this monitor and we just understand better what causes our blood glucose spikes or what doesn't cause. So going back to this test.
We provide a simple saliva test.
Mm-hmm.
You could do it as a baseline, find out where your deuterium is. Then you start deuterium depletion, and then you do it in 3 months and see how depleted you got. Or you can guess. If you want to save the money, you can actually guess, make a good educated guess on what your starting level is based on where you live,
Mm-hmm.
the water that you drink. And most people are somewhere between 148 and 154.
Uh-huh.
But anything over 150 and you really have a metabolic issue. So you basically, you could just test it and you could see how well your strategy is working for you. Now, what is that strategy? Well, a typical strategy is drinking somewhere between half a liter to 1 liter of DDW per day, 10 parts per million. Or you mix it with all the water and all the liquid.
Making tea, making coffee, and all other beverages. So we can actually use this water to even cook our food, as I understand.
You can. It just becomes expensive. And
exactly. Yeah, but better to drink it as it is.
Your goal is lower deuterium in the body. So you're only going to lower it a certain amount per day. So it's really about consistency. And most people, especially that are watching this, should really ask themselves, am I drinking too much water? Because that's a problem too. Overhydrating yourself leads to dehydration.
Oh, interesting. First time I hear about this. Explain, please. It's interesting. So,
well, the water that you drink, if it's not deuterium depleted, it's bulk water. Your body keeps it at arm's length, right? None of that water makes it into the cells where energy is made. Our body makes its own water for that because it wants it to be super pure. So the water that we drink just gets used for other things. Because there's so many reactions with water in the body. I mean, we recycle thousands of gallons per day of water that goes into a reaction, out of reaction. I think like 9,000 gallons of water inside of one human body gets constantly recycled in metabolic process and other chemical and biological reactions. So
good suggestion to start for our followers would be just drink few bottles of deuterium-depleted water, Litewater Scientific,
half to 1 liter a day. Start with half to 1 liter a day.
Half to 1 liter per day, and the most important to do it consistently, as you explained. So every day from half to 1 liter, and our followers, they can purchase Litewater with the promo code Ultimate Wellness at a special discount. Yeah, so they can start drinking water. You mentioned a few times
By the way, my t-shirt explains exactly what's going on. So that's why I wore it. Actually, it was an accident, but so this is the motors that make ATP. Motors, they use hydrogen. They're run on hydrogen, right? So you put the wrong fuel in your car, it won't run, or it'll have some mechanical damage you'll need to repair. So when you have something that enters this motor that's not hydrogen, but it thinks it's hydrogen because it's still hydrogen. It's just a bigger version of it. These motors don't spin. It causes stutter. No ATP is made. And these motors spin very fast. So if they stutter, they start to weaken the membrane that they live in, right? And eventually that you get leakage in that membrane. And then that's the beginning of the end for that mitochondria in that cell.
Yeah, and you also mentioned a few times metabolic health. How does this deuterium depletion improves metabolic health?
So mitochondrial health is metabolic health. Metabolic health is mitochondrial. It's one and the same. It's your metabolism. Your metabolism is your ability to turn food that you eat into energy. What you can extract from your environment to create chemical energy within. That's your metabolism. Most of our metabolism is food. We also metabolize sunlight, like plants metabolize sunlight to create photosynthesis and glucose, right? So a metabolic intervention means that you're trying to make a metabolism more efficient, more at producing energy. So you're trying to get less to go further, and then making sure that everything is optimal and that nothing's broken. I mean, I think people age when they stop paying attention to their injuries. As we go through life, we always injure ourselves. It's just a matter of how well do we heal. You ignore the injury and you never heal, then that's going to take some energy away from you constantly. Energy won't flow, like scar tissue, right? There's a block. So
so any internal stress in our body causes overspending our energy, our source, vital source. So this, if there is systemic inflammation or any other kind of systemic and chronic stress inside our body, because stress is not only outside of our bodies, also some hidden stressors within this hormone, immune, digestion, detoxification systems.
It's crazy.
Oxidative stress.
Our minds can create oxidative stress. Just our thoughts can increase the inflammation in our body. At the same time, those thoughts can also decrease our inflammation. But you always need the energy from somewhere. So when you have a surplus of that energy, your body goes, hey, I have this injury that I haven't had any oxygen for, or I haven't had any time or energy to give any attention to it. So when you have a surplus, it puts it where you're deficient.
Yeah, it just means that when our mitochondria creates enough energy or has this additional energy, ATP production, then the body can decide where to spend this energy. Because our body doesn't need to be taught how to heal ourselves. So it just needs some additional boost, some additional energy balance, and then it can heal itself. Yeah, I like this explanation. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to have Litewater as a sponsor and you personally as a keynote speaker at our annual Ultimate Wellness Conference, returning to the iconic Faena Forum, which you so like and give so good testimonials and feedback. And it's going to be again in Miami Beach on September 26th through 28th. And thank you for supporting us. I want to remind that our followers can purchase Litewater with a special discount with promo code Ultimate Wellness.
The actual site is Drink Litewater, and the Litewater is spelled Litewater. Drink Litewater. Give us a call, send us an email, read the FAQ, download the deuterium depletion guide, get educated on this, get excited. This stuff works. What else can I say? I'm looking forward to seeing you in Miami.
Yeah, me too. Looking forward to seeing you in Miami.